All right, guys, so this is the first interview of what could be many, what could not be many, I don't know. We're going to see how it all works out. I'm going to be talking to a fellow expat, Rick. He lives in Pattaya and has done for 5 years. We've had a limited correspondence, so the interaction you're about to see is just a genuine interaction. My aim of this kind of content is to give people insights into what it is to be an expat, different expat experiences and lives and stories, and of course advice. So I do hope it's helpful in some way, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. I will try to ask questions that are quite probing and not kind of the same like mundane stuff. You know, I want to get a little bit deeper. So I hope it's useful for you. Thanks, Rick, for agreeing to have a little chat with me.
Okay.
Before we started recording, you're an expert in the field.
Yeah.
Well, you've at least got 5 years experience. So myself, I'm 15 years here in Thailand.
Right.
And
Okay.
I know there's many expats that watch this channel that have been a lot longer than me and a lot longer than all of us. But the whole point of these very informal conversations is just to hear somebody else's story of how they got here and what they're
Sure.
doing here, and just share any insights that we might have. These conversations will last around 20 or 30 minutes, and yeah, just no pressure. So I'm just going to start with a nice and easy question. How did you end up in Pattaya? How did you end up here?
Well, sort of a three-step process. I went to work in Alaska in 1995, and it's anyway grueling work and sort of grueling conditions at a seafood processor. So we worked basically 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, but we got 4 to 6 weeks off every 5 months or so. We got a lot of vacation time, right? And of course, I'm there, and I start out as a supervisor. Anyway, I start talking to people, and fishermen are like this. Fishermen have a lot of time out. You know, they might just fish crab, they might fish cod, but then the rest of the time they. So anyway, the first place I went was Costa Rica, and I really liked it there. But you know, I had to find a place where I could go that was cheap to stay and cheap to eat, and blah blah blah. Second trip I made to the Philippines, and then the third trip I made to Thailand, and I kept coming back to Thailand.
What was it? Why keep coming back to Thailand, not staying there in the Philippines? Was there any key differences for you? Or?
Oh, well, of course, Buddhism. I really am pretty, I'm an anti-theist, I call myself. I can't handle Catholicism or anything like that. Well, not good. And, you know, the infrastructure, the open sewers, and just some of the things in the Philippines were very, you know, of course, this is like 1997, 98. Yeah, Thailand seemed a lot more conducive to hanging out and food. A lot of people mention food. Obviously, I think people know Thai food is, you know, good food.
Oh yeah.
You don't hear a lot about, you know, awards for Filipino food.
Well, I
Yeah,
get a lot of that same questions, and a lot of these conversations will be based around things like living here and romance here, and some of the questions I'd sent you through that we may cover. And are you married at the moment, Rick, or is it long term?
yes, I am still married. I don't know if that's going to incriminate me here. No. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you were saying about you're going to leave everything to your kids anyway and all that. I mean, my son, my wife is whatever, 16 years younger or so. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter if I'm married or not. She's still going to get it. American rules or laws, or she would get my Social Security anyway, and blah, blah, blah. First wife, or she was my first wife. And so, yeah.
And how long have you been?
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
I can
21 years, 22 years.
So did you guys marry? You didn't marry in Thailand when you moved to Thailand?
No. Yeah, we married in Alaska.
Actually. But your wife.
Yeah, I did the. I should have started my own TV show. I did the 90-day fiance thing. back in like 99 and 2000. It took me almost a year.
Uh-huh.
The K1 visa, they call it in America. And yeah, but she was already pregnant at that point. So that sort of goes into the trust in the relationship. We sort of, because, and of course I really wanted to have a son. Neither one of my brothers had sons or daughters, had any children. And I don't know, it seemed like the time. I was about what, 38, 37, 38. Yeah, I don't have real good recall.
No, me neither.
I don't have a clean life like you. I still drink quite a bit.
So, Rick, what's your setup like there? You're in Pattaya. Where are you living? You're in a condo, or what's your setup like?
Yeah, I bought this condo in 2015 before it was even built. It's different. I would rather live on the land, and I love dogs, I love animals, but again, I like to be able to walk to get food. It's different than you. I'm going to groceries and I'm going to cafe or restaurants, and I like to be close to a hospital or decent medical care. I just always liked it, and of course I have a view of the ocean, which I always wanted. And
so you bought the condo off plan, right? They call it
right. Well, it was actually about half built.
Okay. And has it worked out for you? Or did you? I mean, has it Did you end up making? Is it a good investment? Has it made money, or is it like? Oh.
Well, yeah. They had that return thing, so I was still working when it was finished, and I still they rented it out for 2 years, almost 3 years, and so I made a rental income during that time.
Okay.
And the good thing, because I worked in apartments. My father owned apartments. The place was built good enough to where even after 2 or 3 years of rental, it's still in good shape, which that's what I started worrying about as the time drew near that I was going to move into it. But again, it's like living in a small village almost. I mean, there's over 900 units in this condo. Now, during the pandemic, there was like hardly anybody here, but now it's much more full.
It's Pattaya is a real hub of many nationalities, right? And I wanted to ask you about Pattaya now. Are you right in the Devil's Lair, or is it like really party central where you are? Or are you?
No. I'm in Pratamnak 1. I mean, I can walk to Walking Street, but I don't. I mean, sometimes I do just because I'm bored. But yeah, there's certain places I go. I used to go drinking with some of my friends, and a lot of those guys have moved on or aren't around. And no, I'm not at Party Central, but it's there. I mean, I saw it during Songkran. I didn't have to, but I went to town on Songkran and I got soaked. And
Could you give me some advice? I've never lived in Pattaya myself. I've lived in Hue Hin. I've lived in Phuket. Most of my time in Thailand has been in busy cities, and I was a bar owner and a heavy drinker, and so I know the stuff with it all. But can you give me some advice that you would give a newbie to Pattaya after your 5 years experience?
I mean, obviously, 90% of the bars you go in are going to have girls that are going to want to possibly hit on you. Someone your age, this is something I've noticed since like 1997. Girls don't hit on me much anymore. In 1997, I was overwhelmed. No, I mean, it is weird. The demographic does seem to be a lot different than it was, 23 years ago or whatever. Actually, 26 almost. But, mostly people get along. But again, working in bars and stuff, you get drunk people, you can have big problems. So, but that's the other thing. Like 90% of the bars are all open bars.
Yeah.
So obviously you just walk out of the bar if there's a problem. Then there's the go-go's and things like that. Those are real high price now. I don't even venture into them.
And I mean, as a newcomer to Thailand, somebody was just coming here, you're thinking, right, Pattaya is going to be my retirement place. Would you like suggest they only go out a certain number of days of the week, or maybe is there any particular expat locations where expats meet up? And is there any dangerous areas there in Pattaya that you know of? Any danger areas?
A lot of people mention the area right next to me where I go all the time. I just made a video on Earth Day, but that's soy dogs. You had that in your last video. You get these groups of dogs once in a while. Dangerous. Well, yeah, the beach road is known for rip-offs from ladyboys, or just rip-offs. But again, these are people, and there was a big slew when we first opened up, since the pandemic, last June or so. A lot of Indians claimed they lost gold necklaces and things like that. I mean, people, it's snatch and grab. But again, see, as I get older, I'm not out after 10 or 11 o'clock at night, hardly ever. So
yeah.
It's usually late time. These people are hitting on drunk foreigners. This is the same way in Costa Rica when I went there. They actually had warnings at hotels and things. Even the Philippines had warnings at the hotels back in the 1990s. Watch out for these scams and watch out for the snatch and grab. And don't stumble home drunk at night, take a taxi, blah, blah, blah. Basic stuff.
What is like your favorite thing about living in Pattaya? Like, what's the thing where you think, you get out of bed in the morning, you look out and you're like, I love this country. I love it. I love it.
I know.
Favorite.
Well, I get up, I go out on my balcony and have coffee, and I see the ocean. I love that. I just love being able to see new people. Like, I get a massage maybe once a week now, not as much as I used to, but I get to see different. Well, to me, I don't know. It's important to sort of have human contact. I notice a lot of people, they get kind of grumpy and in their way, and they don't want to go out, or they only hang out with the same people. I know one guy's like that. But again, they also try to usually have longtime girlfriends, and that's not something I'm looking for. That's something my family is sort of, I'm really good at spending 2 or 3 hours with somebody, going to an event or a little bar, something. But I'm not good at living with someone all the time, and I don't think anybody really wants to live with me all the time.
So your wife, you don't live together?
No.
So you live separately?
I go there 2 or 3 times a year is about it. We talk. We talk on Facebook, Messenger, FaceTime, whatever it's called. But I mostly talk to my son now and then. But I feel sort of sad. I mean, you're a better generation. I feel like I'm not really in touch with the younger generation, but I think one good thing is my stepsister still talks to her, my son, and she thinks he's doing great. I think he's doing great, and
he's at university, right?
Yeah, he's at the university.
Yeah.
But, he never went through any problems with drugs or hanging out, drinking, or gangs or anything. So, I mean, we feel and he seems, but again, I wish I could give him advice on what direction. His wants in life are different than mine were back then and even now,
Yeah, it's hard to comprehend, especially in another culture.
You're giving such a good example because obviously I mentioned briefly, my father was really into real estate. I mean, land, if you have land, at least you always have somewhere to live. And then, of course, the water is very cheap here. You can grow vegetables, grow something. I mean, so you're obviously setting a good example there.
I think for people that want that lifestyle, I'm always quite, I'm aware that many people actually don't want that lifestyle. Like they want to party or they want to go to the club or, here it's quite a renunciate life, which is why I do this on the channel.
Right.
Because this is
I think what you're doing is much more beneficial, but of course you already sort of lived that other life.
One of the topics I mentioned for today as well was about love, finding love in Thailand. And I just wonder about your thoughts as an expat, 5 years here. Any kind of pitfalls you might think, or anywhere you may suggest somebody might have good luck or poor luck in finding love based on the stories you've heard. Of course, this is not a generalization. Not everybody. This doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah.
From your viewpoint.
Well, yeah, I read some forums where people seem to have found love and seem to have found a great life. A lot of them obviously don't live in Pattaya. You know, they're happy and a lot of times it's older people, retired. I do see, I mean, to me, most of the Thai, now again, obviously it's different meeting somebody and then having to live with them, and well, not having to, but I mean, living and falling in love. The Thai people, like I said to you, I mean, they do have good hearts, and the ladies, you know, they seem very honest and loving, and it's amazing the stories I read. I mean, I don't know. My wife would probably take care of me as well. I mean, we sort of, you know, we were sort of both stubborn in the same way, and I think that sort of pushed us away from each other because we butted heads on things. And
Yeah, as couples do.
right, but I actually sort of became afraid of her because of a couple of instances. Because everybody also has what do you call it, a temper.
Yeah.
And, I try not to because my father had a bad one. One of my brothers did, and I try not to take like that seriously. But again, then they think I'm making fun of them. If I don't take them seriously, then I'm sort of taking fun of them. And then, oh well, just
This
incompatibility.
This was your particular challenge with your wife, right?
Yeah, but I think maybe philosophically, I think some men or women are just not meant to stay together in a family situation. I don't know.
And well, I know, without getting too
Like a
personal,
loner.
did you ever feel like you'd finish that relationship and maybe start a new one, or is it just no, we're married for life and whatever way it works out, it's going to be?
No. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, I possibly because of our incompatibility after a while or whatever. Yeah, I'm not a monogamous type of person.
Yeah.
And of course that causes huge problems when you're with someone.
But for somebody else looking for love in this country, like from what I've seen with many expats, they told me that, and many of my close friends, they were usually successful finding somebody online rather than in the bars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, generally like doctors, teachers. One of my friends is married to a germologist. She works with like viruses and stuff in Bangkok. So I mean, that's one point of call. Do you have any expat friends that have been lucky in love in the bars? Like, and I've been lucky in love and had long-term relationships and from the bars. Have you ever come across that or?
No, not personally. I mean, I basically, yeah, again, I have a lot of acquaintances. I know a few guys who basically live with their girlfriends, but you know, they don't seem totally committed to it in a way. You know, well, I don't know how you explain it. I mean, they talk to me about missing short times, or possibly they're still doing short times on the side. You know, but again,
do you think that's symptomatic of Pattaya, or do you think it's just symptomatic of the people that go to Pattaya? That it's like because it's a bit of a devil's playground, right, Pattaya?
Right.
Maybe people, it's like a kid in a candy store. I don't know. Maybe
Right.
Too much choice.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, those are interesting times. You know, as an older guy, when these young guys that are like kids talk to me, because I do go to a bar once in a while, shoot pool, this and that, but usually low key bars. But you could tell the newbies, man, and they just, yeah, you know. But again, you have that light in your eyes. I mean, people, I think it's great. Anything that makes you sort of alive, uh, it's tough in this life. And
Do you think that
yeah,
Pattaya could swallow you whole?
Well, you read about these stories, and I'm always sort of a skeptic because, I mean, I don't know how you read about these guys who've lost it all, and yet, I mean, there's a guy now once a week that's on Tim Newton's channel. You probably don't know him. He used to be on the Tiger. We get a monthly pension. We get a check once a month. Well, it's direct deposit. So how do you lose it all? You don't lose it all because the next month you're going to get another check. I mean, I don't. I also have a rental property in America. These guys that claim they've lost it all, I don't get it. But again, there's guys that, unfortunately, similar to a situation like yours, where basically they do sort of walk away from the house they built or something because
yeah, I think
they don't want to stay with
a misconception. I think there's a lot of people think that Farang can never own their own house here because they can't own land. But it's something I'm kind of clearing up with these recent vlogs, is that you can get a superficies agreement with your wife or whoever, and it means you own the house for 30 years,
Right.
option to extend for 30 years. So I also don't know how they manage to lose it all, other than maybe they don't do these legal contracts, maybe they marry somebody in the first week, maybe.
Well, I think because they walk away voluntarily.
Yeah.
They've lost it, but they've sort of given it up because they'd rather leave it. But you're right. I mean, you mentioned this. I mean, if you get a lawyer, you should always get a lawyer if you're buying property or.
Sometimes you meet wonderful women, and not everybody's going to screw you. And I guess it's not good to hold that attitude in life.
Right.
It's going to screw you. But if you do leave yourself open, like maybe somebody doesn't have a pension or they don't have a rental property, and they come over like, oh, I've got like 30 grand, and then they plow that into something, and then that's just gone. And that's how they get like wiped out, right?
Right. But I have more friends that got wiped out in America than, that happens. Or they say that, you lose the house and blah, blah, blah. Same thing.
Yeah.
If you break up.
Yeah.
It's
better not to be attached to any of it.
I think that's why I stay married, because marriage is really, it's not a, it's a serious contract. It's a legal contract. And,
And of course, there's so many successful relationships that you very rarely hear about. Many of my subscribers, they say they've been married to their Thai wives for 15 years, 20 years, never had a problem. And I hear that story more often than I hear the horror stories now.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of success out there, And I think if you come with the mindset that someone's going to screw you, then you're going to create that reality perhaps with whoever you choose to be with, if you're paranoid about them and whatnot. But I think, it's good to have some wariness, right? So, Rick, do you think that one day it may be rekindled with your lovely wife?
Yeah, now I'm starting to think, well, maybe I should get divorced so I can find a new wife. No, no.
You heard it first.
It's very possible.
Well, what are your future dreams for the rest of your retirement?
Right.
In Thailand?
I don't remember this question, right? No, I realize as being retired, which is I have friends in America that they would rather just keep going to their job even though they don't like it, just because they don't want to retire. I don't have a lot of, real wants. I don't have a lot of yearnings. A lot of people come here, they want to play golf all the time. I would like to go out and hit a few golf balls once in a while. I haven't done that for 30 years. But I just want to stay active. And
I think like the challenge of retirement, you know, in my predicament, I'm out of the corporate world as well. So I had a very busy career. I worked in for a 5-star hotel. And when you're out of that into a lot more freedom, it's difficult to have so much time, and you've got to kind of utilize that time. I think if you're a Farang like me that lives as a piece of land, you've got a lot of physical work to do. You're out
Yeah,
in the
that's good.
It's very hands-on. Whereas if an expat chooses Pattaya or Bangkok, it's a different set of challenges. Maybe you need are you a member of a gym or something like that, or?
No, we have a gym here. I prefer to walk and swim. I do have some type goals, but for now, I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. I don't have a lot of money. I say that because my son's still at the university, and because of the stock market, the world, what is it, inflation, and my 401k, and things aren't doing so well. So I'm not spending extra money. There's no reason to.
Do you ever worry about like the impact of some kind of crash or something that happens in the States, how that's going to affect you here in Thailand?
Well, not now because I know somebody who owns a small farm. And
You're going to come living, you're going to come working on the farm.
yeah,
You got a bamboo hut.
I'll take out your garbage for a plate of pad kapao.
Now,
No,
would you ever now, Rick, would you ever consider, going somewhere else, moving to a different country, or are you quite nested in here in Thailand?
well, yeah, because my son's here, but I can't see moving back to America. And although, yeah, I can't see that. I
No.
couldn't afford it. There's no way I could afford it. Well, yeah, realistically.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the States, I'm seeing a lot of programs of people moving into the car because they can't afford rents, and you think, well, over here in Thailand, you could rent a place, reasonably cheaply. Like in your condos, do people? I know you bought your condo,
Oh
but
yeah, there's a lot of rentals. Yeah, maybe you could get a place my size, 36 square meters is all I got. It's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 12,000 maybe.
So
I was
yeah,
reading about a guy down in Turtle Beach. He does this show every week called Grumpy Old Men, but they're not grumpy at all. He claims he has a small house for 6,000 a month. But again, he's sort of out. And he never spends more than 70 baht on a meal. He rides his bicycle to the beach every night and watches the sunset. I mean, he's happy. I mean, he's living his dream.
Yeah, living his dream, right?
Yeah.
And as you say, like in the UK, in the USA, things are expensive. You wouldn't get a place for 12,000 baht in the UK, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
Certainly wouldn't be sunny, nice weather, and all of the small things that we enjoy in this country. So I think this was in my list. What advice would you give to wannabe expats? Or do you see any like mistakes that maybe expats make coming over here? Things that maybe you were naive about before, but have been educated about through time? Or
I think you should learn some language, although nowadays everybody wants to do the translator thing. And, I have a couple of friends that we do translator with some, but I think you should learn the language. I know you know it. I know very little, which is odd because I was obviously married to a Thai, but that's another story. Food. I read so many forums where people, people who live here, they still want to have, your English breakfast. And it's like, yeah, you got to learn to just eat locally, I think. But again, if you have the money, you can buy the imported foods and steaks. I said stay active.
well,
And the biggest thing is just getting along with people. That's what, of course, that is sort of a worldwide phenomenon. It's, it's so much in the news in America. I mean, you got to get along with people. I mean, most people you can. If you're not going to get along with them, walk away or walk around them. Don't engage in. There's a lot of strange things going on here. It bothers some people. Things bother me. these motorcycle taxis, God, these guys are bizarre. They'll basically urinate right beside the road, like behind a small. They call them the taxi mafia here, and they're kind of strange, and they can get. You got to kind of stay away from them at night because it's like it's not like, do you want to ride home? It's like, I'm going to give you a ride home, and you're going to give me money. Some of these guys, I mean, that's why they call them the taxi mafia. But again, and they're everywhere. But of course, and then there's, because of Bolt and these apps that everybody has, and I use them very infrequently, but I use them. They of course don't like the guys using apps. Oh, they don't like that, because it's competition.
Yeah.
So there's strange things like that. But again, I don't see a lot of fights or problems. Pattaya, though, yeah, it can be too much for some people. And nighttime gets really crazy some places, But
Do you feel welcome here as an expat, as a foreigner? Do you feel welcome within the country?
oh yeah, most of the time. I mean, again, a smile goes a long way. David Crosby, I think, sang that, the wooden ships. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Yeah, a smile. People understand when you smile and laugh, and that's with the Thais. Now, foreigners, totally unpredictable. Thais to me are more predictable than foreigners. But but again, that's one of the problems with Pattaya after dark. I mean, there's a lot of drunk people around, so you got to deal with that.
What's the craziest thing that you've seen in Pattaya or that you've heard happen, if you can think of one?
Gosh, no, probably not. Well, you see all these news clips. I mean, you see people running naked on the beach, and yeah, drunk people doing drunk things. And again, you don't hear a lot of gun violence. Not that I'm really worried about that, but again, you'll hear about knife violence. I mean, people getting chopped with machetes and stuff, even in town. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing. And then the weird things, there's even in this small province of Chonburi, there's been people trampled by elephants. There's these big boa snakes everywhere nowadays. I don't know if that's climate change. These big pythons seem to be coming up everywhere out of toilets and things. That kind of stuff, of course, that's not going to happen to me here, but that stuff would be crazy to me. If running into a python or a elephant.
Thanks for sharing your story here today.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing a lot of 20-minute, 40-minute chats with different expats living all around different areas of Thailand, and you're the first.
Well, thanks. I mean, I know I don't take life as seriously as maybe I should, but I mean, I take my family seriously, my son, and I try to take it as it goes. I mean, you got to live in the now. I mean, I remember great times in the 70s and 80s and growing up, but that ain't what's going on now.
It's different.
But Thailand is beautiful. I mean, you can't deny it. You can still find beauty a lot of places. I mean, I live right by a big park. It's a great place to live.
That's it, brother. Well, thanks for sharing your experience, Rick.
All right.
Thank you,
Great talking to you.